Star Butterfly, heir apparent to the Mumin throne, but how strong is she?
No magic wands were harmed during the making of the new Disney XD show Star vs. the Forces of Evil.
Let's talk about magic. Star's main tool throughout the series is her magic wand, which is passed from generation to generation from queen to queen, and if Queen Justin is anything to go by, it doesn't matter what gender the queen is. If they have the wand, they are a queen. Equal opportunities here. Magic is sort of an interesting concept when it comes to power rankings. Like, here's a thought. Magic users in Marvel are limited. In the Amalgam Comics crossover between Marvel and DC, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver became much more powerful in the DC universe. Quicksilver, because he could tap into the Flash's Speed Force, and Scarlet Witch, because the magic available was so plentiful. Taking this into account with Star's wand having its own magical power source, she would be at least on par with Scarlet Witch, if not more so, while in a Marvel setting. Based on that, along with the fact that Star's wand has its own magical power source that isn't physically tied to a primary power source or needs to be recharged like the Green Lantern power ring, it's safe to say that Star would be quite powerful in a Marvel setting. I will take this into consideration while we figure out the stats later in the video. Magic takes many forms, be it offensive, defensive, or to add to an already existing force. It also comes in two primary forms, a binary between the Eldritch and the Divine. Let's look at both of these real quick. I promise I have a point to this. The Eldritch magic, or the dark magic as it is sometimes called, is magic that comes from more sinister sources. Its use can twist or corrupt the caster, and it can be very easily overwhelming. This caused a panic in the 80s and 90s where America believed things like Dungeons and Dragons were teaching children to worship Satan, and that really couldn't be further from the truth. People turn to the devil for other reasons.
Surrender your wool and your kin to the beast.
They warned me Satan would be attractive. Let's go!
Divine magic comes from the polar opposite source, a much more reputable source, a holy source. Divine magic is often used in popular media as a way to show a magic user using magic for good. But in many religious stories, the word magic is not used because magic is not real. Still, in many games, paladins are known as divine warriors who use light magic attacks.
They were sometimes known as the 12 Peers. Now, historically, they were the foremost members of Charlemagne's court, although many of their most famous exploits are largely fictitious, representing Christian martial superiority over the Saracen hordes.
What are you driveling about?
Well, my friend, that's a paladin.
Now I know what you're thinking. Why am I categorizing magic in this way when I'm supposed to be talking about Star Butterfly, Princess of Muni? Well, consider this. She wears devil horns, and we know her family lineage has not always been the most squeaky clean, historically speaking. Let's talk racism. It is, by no stretch of the imagination, that Star vs. the Forces of Evil is a show about the modern generation dealing with the segregation faced by past generations and trying to reconcile these facts and move forward. Star's grandmother, Eclipsa, was banished from Muni because she cheated on her husband with a monster and had a half-human, half-monster child. This child was supposed to be heir to the throne, but the king found her appearance disgusting and switched her with a commoner's infant and raised the commoner to be the new princess. Star's current activism throughout the show of bringing humans and monsters together to live in peace is often undermined by her mother's persistent prejudices, and they butt heads over this.
I don't care if it's wrong or right.
The fact that Star's magic seems to be more destructive than her mother's should not be overlooked either. She had an on-again, off-again relationship with Tom, who was half-demon. It seems Star was on a similar path to Eclipsa before meeting Marco Diaz and going through the plot of the main series. Now, am I saying that Princess Star Butterfly's satanic use of magic is what caused her parents to send her to a different dimension to train? Sure. Why not? Nothing matters. Nothing matters except the Marvel.com stats, that is. Now is the part of the video where we figure out how strong the character is based on Marvel.com stats. Remember, there are 6 different categories and they range from 1 to 7. Let's go. Durability, 5. Star gets knocked out sometimes when she overexerts herself, but she always gets back up and almost never gets more than a few bruises. Energy, 7. Star's magic wand is powered by a whole assortment of living, sentient, magical creatures who lend their strength to her every whim. Fighting skills 4. Although she's mostly relying on using magic spells to fight, her time with Marco Diaz has led to her learning basic martial arts for self-defense. Intelligence 3. Star may not be the brightest girl in the world, but she can often figure her way out of sticky situations. Most of her mistakes are due to not knowing the culture, so it's kind of tricky. Speed 4. Star has basic human speed most of the time, but after she grows her wings, she can fly at pretty good speeds. Strength 3. Star is not that physically strong, but relies on magic to win fights, so she doesn't have to be. And that's that. That's a combined total of 26. I still don't know if we want to go with the total or just the strength stat here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And
But Brian, what about the final episode?
wait, what?
Doesn't the final episode affect her numbers?
No, all right, folks. Looks like I forgot to take into account the new finale. So if you haven't seen it and don't want spoilers, turn off the video right now. We're going to go ahead in 3, 2, 1. Alright. Now the finale, which has Star go ahead and destroy all the magic. All of it. Let's go ahead and recalculate these stats. Durability 2. Let's go ahead and subtract some points here. Energy 1. So many innocent lives lost. So young. Fighting skills 3. Taking off a point since she lost her primary weapon, which was full of living, sentient creatures that had hopes, dreams, children. Intelligence 1. Okay, I'm being petty, but I don't care. Speed 2. Her wings have been cleaved right off. Strength 2. Just average human strength here. The new total is 11. This means she just lost over half of her points, which is fair, since the universe just lost half of their inhabitants.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
So that's the destructive force of Star Butterfly, Disney's evil queen with the highest death count. Can the heroic Rick Sanchez of Earth Dimension C-137 defeat her tyranny? Let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to show your support. And remember, you can also follow us on Twitter when we remember we have one of those. Until next time, this has been Brickleberry of the Tidepool Orchestra, and I remember it so you don't have to. See ya.
I think Earth is a pretty great place.